Welcome back to Half-A Hot Rods. If you've never been here before, my name is Adam. I'm a guy with no particular amount of skill, budget, time, or all the right tools to build these projects. But I'm here to show you don't have to have all that stuff. You can still figure out how to get it done. If you haven't been here before, this is my 57 Chevy pickup. We pulled it out of a field almost 2 years ago now. And I've been working on putting it on a 97 Chevy chassis. This go around, we're going to make this bed fit. It has been a fight every step of the way, but by the time we're done with this video, it will be on there, it will be bolted down, and it will be almost ready to go to work. Here we go. Alright, we're going to get back to work on the 57 Chevy truck on the 97 chassis. And the first thing we got to get started on is getting all these cross members welded in on the bed. So Wyatt's getting ready to do some prep work and get started on the welding. And I'm going to go grab a piece of square tube to help hold this up high enough so that he can do it. And it's raining a little bit today, so there may be a little less talking, but we'll do what we can to explain what we're doing as we're going along. So here we go. Well, I think I must have had it cockeyed in here. Ouch! Higher on one side than the other. Just front to back. Get it in the right spot. Height-wise, it's not in the same one it was before. Oh, but this is a better position. Okay. Yeah, you want to put a little pressure on it. Just make sure she ain't going to move around. Yeah, this side looks significantly lower, but they're both flat against the pipe. So it's probably where it should be now, and I didn't have it there before. Which could be why it broke.
No. That's called foreshadowing.
Oh, I'm going to be able to put those back.
Back one.
Back here. Dude, you're pushing me!
Those?
Because that's all the weed I have left.
Oh, is that as far as the welder will go?
Every time I touch this welder, I run out of wire.
How do I feel about when I'm using the torch? Well, Wyatt was banging away on the welding, but run out of welding wire. Didn't want to use mine because it's flux core and it's much dirtier. His is a better way to go. So he's going to run to town to get some welding wire. We're going to stay here, me and you and Hubcap. And, right, Hubcap? Flip your ear, you look ridiculous. And we're going to work on the template for the gooseneck ball, and then hopefully cutting the hole, which I marked center of the bed. Actually the center of the bed and 2.5 inches forward of the axle line. And then we can work on cutting the hole in the bed from the template. And then I've got this ginormous plate that was mounted to the frame of the donor truck that we'll put up underneath the bed, and then bolt this to that old plate, weld that old plate to the bed, weld the gooseneck ball, just a few, couple inch stitch welds to the, to the top of the bed, and then we will also bolt it to that big thick plate. So first thing we got to do is figure out how to make a template for this. So that's what I'm working on right now. I need to get these bolts out that were rusted in there from before, because I don't think I want to reuse them and then have to deal with the rust again. I'd rather just buy a handful of carriage bolts. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to work on templating this and then cutting a hole, I guess, while Wyatt gets wire. We'll see how far we get before he gets back. Yeah, it took a lot longer with a cutoff wheel than it would have with a torch, but I got a cleaner cut. There hopefully will be less grinding, and yeah, I keep running out of oxygen and acetylene, so I want to be kind of sparing with that. So in the meantime, Wyatt is back, and are we set back up with wire?
Yeah.
All right, we have wire again, so are you singing? What was that? Seizing? Say what?
Tism time.
Oh.
You know how it be. You did?
You did?
You did?
Don't look at the weld hubcap, you dummy. So Wyatt's got all our brackets welded up. We're going to work on, this is the underplate for the gooseneck hitch. Unfortunately, it's like 1.5 inches too wide to go under there. So I'm going to take some measurements, and we're going to mark it and probably cut from both sides as much as I don't want to, and take 1.5 inches off this, so 3/4 of an inch on each side. Luckily, it's not real thick. Yeah, it's pretty thick. So, yeah, I'm glad we got stuff for the torch, because this would take a week with a cutoff wheel and about 30 of them. So we'll get this thing marked out, and then we'll do an excellent, clean, smooth torch cut, and then we'll get it off there. Or then we'll figure out how we're going to get it up under there, because that thing takes 2 men and a boy to pick it up, and we got to get it slid up in there. So here we go.
rinse, repeat.
All right, I think while that's cooling, so we can turn around and do the other side, I'm going to work on grinding this and making that gooseneck hitch fit snugly in the hole. First, I think I'll jam a couple pieces of wood under there so that I can't drop it through and smash my concrete. Flip your hair around, you look ridiculous. Or I could take the torch up here and finish cutting the top of this off and see if I can run us out of oxygen or acetylene before I can finish that one. And then I won't be able to finish anything, so it'll be perfect. Let's do that.
You idiot!
Oh my Lord, that's heavy. Whew. What do you think, Hubcap? It was a little sketchy because there was roller deals on those two middle bars, and I wasn't sure if I was cutting through the pipe or not. Oh yeah, that's going to look so much better. Now we just need a forklift to get that thing off there. Just kidding, it's not that bad, but it's not light either. We probably want to wait a minute before we set it outside in the leaves because it's probably a little toasty. Whew. What time is it? Why are those donkeys hollering? Oh, it's 4:30. It's time for them to eat. They're starving to death. Not really. That's going to look much better. That's going to have a much nicer profile. Clean, clean. And we'll do something across the top here. I haven't decided what yet. The pickup would have had, the pickup stock bed would have had like a pipe across the front. Yeah, sure, a rounded thingamajig, chingadera. Right, Hubcap? Right? You want to jump up? Come on. Come on. Oh, that's a good boy. That's a good boy. Up here. Oh, you're such a big baby. You're a good boy. You know, I don't want no kisses. No. Okay. Oh, you're digging into me with your claws. Oh, good boy. Okay, we're back. It's the next day. If I didn't get it, we got the front off. Oh man, I can't get over how much better this bed looks without that big rack on there. All right, things we got to do next. I need to, this is obviously sufficiently cooled by now. I need to get that up under the truck because it's going to be sandwiched in here and figure out where it's going to meet and get that all ground down for welding. I need to make a patch piece for up there where the old PTO winch, ginormous monster winch used to be, so that that can be done. Man, when you're looking at that, you can really see how wavy that metal is. This one's even got a little dip in the middle, but it's all right. It's good enough for who it's for. So we got to get that done. I almost forgot, or I did forget yesterday. We've got these brackets that need to hang down from the front, right on about there, only straight down. So we got to remember to do that. And yeah, I think that's plenty of work for now. And then we get that stuff done, we might get on to cutting a hole for the fuel line. I'm trying to remember all the stuff that we have to do while it's off the truck. We need to drill these holes. I just laid the bracket on there and then spray painted in there so I could see where the hole was. So that worked pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And then yeah, the drilling, the back ones will come down like this, and so will the front ones. So we'll just drill them once the bed's already back on it. But as you can probably hear in the background, we're getting rain today. It's not nearly as heavy now as it was earlier, but I don't think it's done yet. So if I don't talk much today, then that's probably why, because you wouldn't be able to hear me anyway. So let's get to work. Maybe pick up where we left off with the grinding and get some of that done. We got the two shop helpers out here until Wyatt gets home. You can buy that dog all the dog toys in the world, and he finds a water bottle, man, he is tickled. You get a water bottle? You goober. You're a goober too. So every time I've messed with this piece of plate, other than like to pick it up and put it on the bench with Wyatt's help, I picked it up with a cherry picker. But we've got to wiggle it up through and in there. That's going to be a huge pain in the neck to figure out. So I'm going to try to just set it on my lap, get under there, and then see if I can just pick it up and put it in there. So let's see how that works out. Okay, it's kind of somewhat in there. Not really wedged. Might be wedged. Okay, we might have to go over the end. You guys probably don't want to be under this, because I'm not 100% sure I can stop it from hurting us. Didn't see that one coming. Whack my melon on the pipe. Oh yeah, that's it. I don't know if you could actually see that sliding in from the side or not, because I didn't reposition the camera, but it's in there. Now we just got to get it up close so I can see and mark where I need to grind. So that's the next obstacle, is lifting it the next 5 inches and figuring out how to hold it there. That might be a good job for the cherry picker. It actually might be easier to push up on that and shove blocks under it. Let me try that first. So I did good cutting that hole, but I guesstimated on the plate, and the reason it's sitting like this is because it's up on top of that tube under there, but I don't think it'll go back anymore. If it won't go back anymore, then I'm going to have to cut some more off the back to let it come up to where I need it to be. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's precisely what it is. Oh, that sucks a lot. Because that means torch cutting that whole thing again. We're going to have plenty of room up there to weld, but we're going to need to take a pretty good chunk off this side. Cool. Well, I guess at least we can maybe figure out where the ends are and mark it so we only do this one more time. I might do that. Just kind of mark it with a grinder where we need to start cleaning. Because we know it's got to come back like, what is that, half an inch? Maybe 3/4. I'm real happy with how it sits down in that hole, but yeah. I should have known I wouldn't get it on the first try. I mean, I could have measured something better, I'm sure. I don't know what exactly, but I'm sure there's a way to avoid this, but that's what happens when you're figuring it out as you go. I'm kind of thinking we take 1.5 inches off here. We need 3/4 of an inch, but that gives us wiggle room and room to get the welder up in there, hopefully. So we'll work from this milled edge, since it should be square, and mark 1.5 inches here, and then just square it off and go across. Sound good? Sound good. Now we got to go move on to something else, because that is toasty and I don't want to grab it, and I will grab it because I know me. That's the kind of thing I would do. The bad news is it still ain't light. Just a little wiggling, but that's pretty darn close. I'm going to grab the grinder and the wire wheel, and we're going to go under there and be miserable for a while. So you guys just, you know, I'd say take a break, but I'm just going to clip it, and then I'm going to be right back. All right, after just a second, or hour and a half of trying to make this fit right, we've got it in there. There's a lot of flex in this top plate. You can kind of see the bow in it, so we may have to raise this up a little bit at a time and weld. But you can see I've got wood jammed in the other side to hold it up tight, and this side's close, but we'll push it up with the jack and that pole to get it really close when we're ready to tack it and weld it. And that'll add a lot of structure to that, because that's some heavy plate. And if it still doesn't feel like it's stout enough, if it's moving around when I try and hook on a trailer, then we'll add some brackets down to the pipe from there, because it certainly reaches far enough. We could, if we had to, we could come down like this to the pipe, and then we'd really solidify it. So if it feels like it needs it, we'll add that in there. I thought the steel would be enough, and it may, once it's all welded up, it may stop wiggling around. But right now this top plate definitely has more wiggle than I thought it would. So, but when you move things around and manipulate them, that will sit flat in there. It's nice and flush. It's just what I wanted. So we need Wyatt's help with that. We need his help with the front. I guess I'm just going to start grinding on this and cleaning it up, because that'll be hard to get to behind the cab. Yeah, I mean, we're getting almost to where we're ready to set this back on the truck, I think. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm just going to work on cleaning this up a little bit, and yeah, we'll go from there. And Wyatt's coming out soon, so I'll be his assistant once he gets out here.
Hopefully there's no professional welders that watch your videos, because they're going to say something about welding downhill. And you're like, oh, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to run that 12-inch strand in one go.
I mean, are they wrong? You're going to get tangled in your shirt.
It's like tuckling.
Are they wrong?
For an experienced and or professional what? Oh my God.
You're going uphill there, dude.
For an experienced welder, no.
Oh. Well, that's what you're getting here.
Exactly.
Probably let the jack down now, huh?
If this pops,
Do I have to be
selling
gentle?
all my welding equipment. Dude, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Just put that anywhere.
Gentle's my middle name. You good?
Good as it'll ever be.
What do you think the odds are that sets down in there? Oh, you gotta dip the other end in first. There you go. Ha!
You're not going to have to do very much.
That is way better than I expected.
Tell you what, you just send it.
Yeah. That.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not too pretty bad.
Not too pretty bad. I mean, we give her a couple of little taps with a hammer, it might set down in there good enough for me. Okay, there ain't nowhere for it to go. Never mind.
Yeah, there.
That's, I mean, I figured it was going to stand up more than that. Or it might be hung up on something.
Give it a couple more bounces, it'll go.
I don't
Good Lord. Hold on, just one more time so you can see that articulation. Oh, we still have roller skates under it. And I'm sure they're not liking that.
I think with all the other weight, that the knee jumping is probably the least of the roller skates worries.
Oh, dude.
Oh, wait. Oh, I shouldn't stick the finger in there. I wouldn't stick anything else in there. This is definitely not all the way down.
How much further we got?
Quarter of an inch. Enough to get my well on there.
Why is it all the way down?
Because the other ones are hitting already.
Oh, like the other braces are hitting already?
Maybe.
Yeah.
No, that one's not down either. I knew the middle ones were going to need like a washer maybe. Because nothing is the way you would expect it to be. I think maybe it's just because it's fitting so tight. Okay, it's been about a week since we set the bed down on the 5797 Chevy truck here, and I'm getting ready to set up my come along chain pull adjust system like we did to get it adjusted initially. But I wanted to show you where we were at before I started doing that, because it's going to be hard to do all of it and film at the same time. So you can kind of see at the back here, that's the very back cross member. It's a little farther forward on this side than it is on that side. And then those holes aren't matching up. Kind of the same thing all the way up, of course, which makes sense because, you know, at least they're not different wrong. And then that front channel is supposed to sit down on that cross member, and it's not doing it yet.
Oh, that little guy. I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
That one is the only one that we had the angle going down from on both sides, and it is tight, which is good, but I think it's just too tight, and that's why I don't want to sit down. So, I mean, we're real close. You see that cross member is about ready to come through. The bolts are about ready to drop through the body mount, and then actually on this side I had a longer bolt in there, but that one will drop through if it comes straight down. So I guess we want this thing to come down before we want to start to move it back, because I don't want to lose this side that actually hit the hole. So we might try to manipulate this angle, which is not going to bend easily. Might have to heat it. I'm going to try to pry on it a little. I think I already beat on it with a hammer and it didn't do anything. But the welds up there are going to be strong. They're not going to move. The angle iron is going to be pretty strong. I don't expect it's going to move easy. But I don't need much. I mean, it's within a quarter of an inch of drop. Maybe half. But yeah, we get that just so I can get this bolt down enough so that it holds something, because the whole thing's just kind of floating on that angle iron squeezing the frame. So we're going to fight with that for a minute and see where we get. Like it's all the way down. That one looks like it's all the way down. Actually, the back is touching, little space, bigger space, bigger space. Now we got a gap at the back over the top of the frame, so hopefully that increased pressure will help move the front end down where it belongs when we relieve the restriction, whatever's grabbing it there. I figured it out. It was not what I thought. You got to see this to believe it. So, let's see if I can see if I can sit up without hitting my head. So, that C-channel, get the light right. That C-channel needs to sit down on the black cross member, and you can see there's a stud sticking up through there that the C-channel is supposed to be behind, and if it were, I think it would sit down, but it is not, so it's not. So hopefully there's not too much glare off my head. We just got to bring it back a little, so we're gonna grab the come along and the chain and see if we can't just make her move. Here we go. I probably should have thought of that. It's just grabbing that stud and pulling on it. So we're going to have to get some of the weight off the front before it's going to let go of it. And hopefully I didn't bend it so much it's going to be in the way now. Okay, that dropped the bolt in on one side. The front cross member sitting where it needs to be. I think I can show you through the top here. See that channel sitting flat down on there now. So that's where we want it. Now I've just got to push and pull and move around under there and get all my bolts to try and line up. But we got the come along adjuster set up under there, and we'll get it to come along. Okay, I've been rolling around under this thing, pushing and pulling and trying to get things lined up, and two of the holes I was going to use in the frame, I didn't check to make sure that they were big enough, and they're not. So I'm going to have to drill those out. Some of the other holes that I marked, I must have got the cross piece, the one that fell off, flipped around when we welded it back on. So now the holes don't match on it. And then for some reason the one on the very back doesn't line up like it should either. So I think I can just drill in the end of that and it'll be okay. But what we're going to do first is, it is sitting where I want it. I finally measured distance off the cab on both sides, and then how much tire stick out we've got on both sides, because when I measured like at the back to the sides of the box, or the sides of the toolbox, or the sides of the bed, I couldn't get consistent measurements side to side, and it was so far off that it was going to make it look funky. So again, we're going to go with the stuff you're going to notice, the cab to bed gap and the fender gap, which is going to get more fender, but I would like them to be equal sized. So we're making sure the tire sticks out equal distance from both sides. So what I'm saying here is, when you're making ice cream out of horse manure, it's not going to be very good ice cream.
What?
When you're making ice cream out of horse manure, it's not going to be very good ice cream. So, ta-da!
Ta-da!
That's the kind of ice cream we're making today. But anyway, so the next step I think we're going to do is I'm going to drill these pieces of angle iron that are coming down from the front. The ones that I thought we were hung up on that we weren't, because we were hung up on 1 3/8 bolt. So I'm going to drill those holes through those and the frame right now, because they should not move much. They are probably the most solid piece on this bed as far as not moving around and connecting the bed to the frame. I'm having trouble with words today. So we're going to drill those holes, 2 on each side, so that we can find our point again, and then we're probably going to do some marking under there and pull the bed off again and do some more drilling. I don't want to do it that way, but ultimately it's probably going to be quicker and simpler and safer and easier to drill pointing down than it is pointing up at an angle into the frame. So I think that's just what I'm going to have to do. We'll get our tire stacks out again. We'll lift the back up, put it on the tire stacks, lift the front up, pull the truck out, drill the holes, put it back under, put it back down. You know, you've seen me do it a bunch of times now because I couldn't figure out how to get it right on the first try, because we're learning as we go. So anyway, I said all that to not have to do the work, I guess. So I better get to doing the work, because I don't think I have much more working time left in me today. All right, let's see how far we get. Okay, when we left off, I was figuring out all the mounting points and how to adjust them so that they would match up again before we pull the bed. I think we've got everything figured out. except for this last one in the back. So I just need to mark where to drill on both the cross member and on the frame, and then we can get out. And by get out, I mean pick the bed up again for like the fourth time when I wanted to only do it once, and then re-drill some holes in the cross members, re-drill some holes or open up some holes in the frame, and then hopefully back it under for the last time, like I thought I was doing every other time that we've done this. So I'm going to figure that out, and then we'll get things marked up good in the front. I just sprayed yellow paint through the holes in the frame to mark the cross members. Hopefully that'll work. Now I have yellow paint on my nicely painted black frame, but we can fix that. That's not a big deal. And then we will work on picking this bed up, getting the truck out, drill, baby, drill, right? Hubcap, drill, baby, drill. Okay. And then hopefully we'll put the back bed back on, and bolt it down. And that would be cool if we could just bolt it down and leave it on the truck. Here we go. We got to get the square body out of the way so we got somewhere for the 57 to go. And then we got to roll tires and wheels back in that I thought I was done with. So yeah, you've all seen me push stuff around and lift and pull, and we won't get too much of that. So anyway, I have to tell you, 16-year-old me, 15-year-old me is just tickled. This is what I dreamed of, a shop full of cool old trucks and cars, even though they're at the very bottom of the budget of anybody anywhere out there. But this is exactly the kind of stuff I wanted to do when I grew up. So pretty cool stuff. Okay, so when we left off on the 57, I was trying to get all the bolt holes lined up, and I'm happy to report that every one of them except for one lined up, and I was able to get a bolt through it by, coming along and moving stuff around. And that one, I had to, hog it out a little bit, but we got a bolt in it. The next problem I encountered was I went and got all 1.5 inch, 2 inch bolts, and I thought they would be fine, but actually in some places the fact that they're not threaded all the way to the head is going to be a problem. And then in the rectangle tube that I laid down, they're going to hit the other side of the rectangle tube before they're tight. So I had to go buy some more bolts, 2 short ones for inside the rectangle tube. I got shorter ones for all the others just because I don't like having a bunch of extra threads sticking out. And then a couple longer ones for, one of them's going to fit this cross tube up front that wants to sit up a little, that you can't really see here, but there's a little gap. And we just don't have quite enough thread engagement there. So I'm going to go around, get all those bolted down, and then I think the bed is installed. So yeah, I hope to not take it off again. I fingers crossed that's it. We've done it enough times. You guys have seen more videos than you probably ever want to see. I'm making a bed fit that was supposed to fit easy. So I'm going to mess around with all these bolts, which again is going to be hard to see under there, but you can see my right tools for the job are all in place. I got everything lined up, so it should just be a matter of switching them out, adding the right washers, flat washer on both sides and a lock washer, and then cranking them down until I can't crank them no more because they're grade 8. So I don't think I can break a grade 8 1/2 inch bolt by hand. Maybe, probably not. So here we go, and I'll be back in a few minutes and we'll report our success hopefully. All right, I'm super excited. The bed is finally bolted down. Some of them put up a fight. I didn't get enough of the shorter bolts, so I had to switch some out for other ones and add a couple washers here and there. But the bed is completely bolted down. It's going to be hard to see much of it except for these back ones. But you can see the grade 8 bolts over there and over there. And that's more or less how it goes all the way to the front. Except for, well, yeah, more or less. You can see the one, oh, that light's shining in my face. You can see the light, or the bolt right there on the stock body mount, and then these down bars from the front one. And then I discovered another problem I hadn't anticipated. When I originally did the battery relocate, which we did a full video on that, I had a different plan for what was going to be the bed on this truck. And now, my positive cable is good. I left all kinds of slack in it. But my negative cable is attached to a cross member, and that's all there is. So I think we're going to move it out somewhere along the frame here so that I can put this battery maybe more like up here. Well, maybe not against there, especially with that. Yeah, that's the positive. But you get the idea, somewhere closer to the front, and then we'll build some sort of hold down or bracket. We'll have to put it where it won't hit the latch and where it won't hit the chain, because I'm going to leave that on there. And then, yeah, we should be in good shape. So maybe something like that. And then we'll have room for the chain, and we can throw straps or whatever in there if we want to. All right. So when we left off, we had the bed bolted down. I was pretty excited about that. I went to put the battery in, and the cable was too short. So what I did here was reuse the bracket that I'd mounted on the frame. I just drilled some holes in it and bolted it to the bottom of this box so it wouldn't move around. Just put a chunk of wood in here as a spacer, because I'm not sure this is how this is going to stay. And then we've just got not a bungee, but a motorcycle strap to hold it down. So it should be pretty solid. It's good to go. The ground I just moved to the outside of the frame back there, and we'll paint over that. I wanted it to have good metal to metal, bare metal contact. And then you can see it reaches good over here. Ooh. And if we connect that, we got sparks, which probably means I left the key on so that I could steer it. Yeah, I did. So I think it's about time to connect that battery up. I had one bad hose clamp for sure, so I replaced that on the bottom hose. Yeah, I guess we're going to try and start it. It hasn't run in several months, and like I said, the last time I tried to start it, it didn't want to stay running. The fuel filler neck isn't going to work where I thought it was going to work. So I think Wyatt and I figured out we're going to bring it up through the bed after all and hide it under something like an old gas can or an old toolbox. I don't really want to use that one because it's a boat tank and I'm not really into boats, and this isn't a boat, so, but I had it, so also there's a good reason to use it. Got it. So let's connect that negative cable and make sure we got the wheels chalked, and we'll see if this thing will crank up. Should have less sparks now that I turned the key off. That should be good enough for now. And I charged the battery yesterday, so it should be good. Maybe. Let's see what happens. Wheels are chalked, because I don't really want it rolling off the blocks. That might be a little bit more ride than I want. And I'll bet that rear suspension wouldn't like it much at all, especially with the bed already taxing its abilities. pump came on. And it's acting like the battery's dead. That I just charged yesterday. I don't understand why the batteries are always dead. Alright, give me a minute, we'll hook up a charger and then we'll see what it does. It may just be that those batteries, every battery I have is junk. I've been fussing with this battery all afternoon while I worked on other projects, and it wouldn't start, and then it finally did, and it wouldn't stay running, and then it did. I took the charger off, put the charger back on, wouldn't start, then it did start without, I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. But it started a minute ago with the camera off. Let's see if it'll do it again. Now it wants to sit here and idle, I guess. So, I don't know. Couldn't be any of the wiring I've hacked up to get this thing together. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm working on some other stuff for the next video on this truck. So, we're going to get back to that. And we'll put this thing on the ground so you can see what it looks like on the ground.
Good thing it's not very long, huh?
Yeah. I didn't notice when I got it.
All the torque from that big block would have ripped the front end out from underneath it.
Alright.
I don't know how you didn't get it.
I don't know either.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, it could be that my memory's failing me, but I think that bed has been one of the most challenging projects on this truck. Or maybe it's just that it was so much harder than it really should have been. I thought it was just going to drop on there and bolt on. When I originally went to get the bed, I almost put the truck on the trailer, figured I could just back it under it and set it down and we'd drive back on the trailer. Man, I'm glad I didn't try that. But it's on here. It's bolted down. We still got to figure out fenders. We may do some custom work. That's what all the crayon drawing is here. We got to finish up our fuel filler neck. You know, fenders. We got stuff to do yet on it. But we're very, very close to having this ready to use. The gooseneck, I just need to get bolts for it and grind down the edges just a tickle more so that that'll drop in there the way I need it to. And yeah, we'll be good to go. So big thanks to Wyatt on this one. He did a ton of welding on it, and I'd like to say I could have done it, but it wouldn't have been like he did. So I'm very thankful for that. If you want to see the other stuff we've done to this truck, I've got a whole series of videos every step of the way, taking it from dragging it out of the field after 57 years to driving it for the first time. And hopefully we'll have her ready for the road pretty quick here. We're getting down to a bunch of little stuff, so we'll work our way through that. And next video, next time around, I think it's going to be Wyatt's square body. We're doing a little more work on it, and then we'll be back on the 57 again. So if you like what we're doing, click like, subscribe, come back and see us again. As always, I appreciate you watching. And remember, if I can do it, you can do it. We'll see you next time.